You can say that all you want, but look at the evidence, look at the data. Women do pick toxic, abusive guys. He's a narcissistic abuser. She wanted this. Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's Christine Grace, and today is another reaction video. I'm reacting again to an Alexander Grace video. I learned something in the last video that I watched, and I love learning, so I'm excited to learn what he has to say in this one. Yeah, I'm a bit thrown by the title, so let's just get straight into it and see what we can find.
Have you ever listened to a woman speak and you can understand the words she's saying, but still she makes no sense at all? It could be that she's speaking Womanese. Now, Womanese is a tough language and a fascinating culture. And in this video, we're going to watch this clip of this woman speaking Womanese, and I'm going to act as translator.
Okay, it's time for girl.
First off, I need to quickly explain this Womanese concept of girl talk. It's a special type of conversation that women use so that they can be liberated from patriarchal concepts of logic and consistency. But the most important thing that you need to know about girl talk is that judgment is not allowed. It's a safe space for women to have superficial values, to make
I now understand. I know what we're dealing with here. This is going to be fun. I'm excited. I want to do a little translation myself as well and see if I'm along the right lines.
choices to overall just be a really shallow person, but that's all okay when it happens in girl talk. The reason why girl talk is such an integral part of Womanized culture is because when speaking in mixed company, women found it was too much pressure, it was unfair, it was restrictive. They had to pretend to care about being a woman of depth and character. But in girl talk, they can just drop the pretense, be real, be superficial, and no judgment is allowed. It's very liberating. So let's find out why we're having girl talk. What has this woman done that she doesn't want to be judged?
I just got back from going on one date with this guy who was very golden retriever vibes. And I don't know if that makes sense to anyone. It's just so nice, so kind. Like, I know if I dated him, he would never break my heart. And tell me what.
She doesn't like him. 4 seconds in, she doesn't like him.
Just not into that.
Like so many of her Womanese counterparts, she's not into men who are kind, who are nice, who wouldn't break her heart. In our culture, that might seem bizarre, but in the Womanese culture, they crave men who are rude, who are mean, who would break your heart. That's a man who's really attractive. And
the roller coaster of emotions. Said it on a podcast recently. There is a reason we women love murder documentaries, films about psychopaths, all the crazy shit you see on Netflix. There is a reason that women are the #1 fans for that, because we're emotional beings. If you can spike all of our emotions at once, you're basically hitting the jackpot. And the nice golden retriever guy, well, he's only hitting happiness. It's only 1 on the scale. So unfortunately, he's not gonna get very far.
Who she's into.
Oh my gosh. Like, I'm not lying, guys, when I tell you that I know that if I decided to give this man my whole entire heart, I would never have to worry about anything.
If she was to give her whole heart to this man, she would never need to worry about anything. This one definitely needs translating from Womanese to English. Now, for people of our culture, it might not make sense when a woman is speaking with such romantic tones, painting a picture of a life of ultimate fulfillment with a man, describing the pinnacle of her relationship with him as being her not needing to worry about anything. In our culture, that might seem strange. You think, how can that possibly be the pinnacle of human bonding? Why not?
It's because most women lack self-awareness. So if you are not aware of your nature as a woman, there's always going to be a reason why someone like the golden retriever guy is not going to satisfy you. They'll often say things like, well, it just didn't have the spark, you know, just the fire wasn't there, which usually means that he break her heart in some kind of way, or he isn't infuriating her in some kind of way. Yeah, but then when you say this to women, they'll go, well, women don't want that. Women don't want toxic relationships and to be with abusive guys. It's like, okay, well, you can say that all you want, but look at the evidence, look at the data. Women do pick toxic, abusive guys.
Talk about the love that you feel, the respect that you have, the mutual achievements, the character development, the memories you'll create, the children you have, the struggles you overcome. Isn't that the ultimate romantic fulfillment for a woman? No, not in the Womanized culture. For those women, the most amazing thing that you can imagine about being in a relationship with a man is that you'll never have to worry about anything again. You'll never need to do anything. You'll never need to achieve anything. You'll never need to solve any problems or struggle in any way. That is the dream. In Womanized culture, the man who unquestioningly indulges her laziness is the pinnacle of the ideal man. He is a true romantic hero, and that is what a healthy relationship looks like.
But I left that date feeling like It's not enough.
Why wouldn't that be enough? Well, scientists have actually studied the genetic makeup of women in the womanized culture and found that at the biological level, they're incapable of being satisfied. So scientifically speaking, it will never be enough. But of course, culturally speaking, it's still a man's duty to try.
And I was a little bored, and it was supposed to be a dinner date. But the second I walked in there, like, the conversation wasn't great. We just weren't hitting it off. And I was like, I'm not even going to try to have dinner because that'll extend this longer than I want it to go. Had a couple drinks and left.
Now, in our culture, we might encourage a woman to refrain from making a judgment about a man based on the first few seconds of interacting with him. We might also encourage her to make some effort to make the evening entertaining and enjoyable for both of them. But in womanized culture, dates are not considered to be a mutual conversation of equals, with both parties having...
It's an audition for the guy, where the woman is the judge. That's how majority of women go into a date. It's the guy's audition. Instead of, we're both two adults, let's see if we're compatible and see what we can both bring to this evening together. It's not a joint enterprise. It's the guy, unfortunately, is the act, and the woman is the judge there with her buzzer if she's going to decide to buzz him in or not.
Responsibility to be good company for the other. No, in womanized culture, there is the understanding that women are perfect and it is always the man's role to entertain the woman. Thus, if she is bored, then the only possible explanation is not that she herself is a boring person, but that the man failed in his duties.
And now I have a date with this other guy. Completely different vibes. I get player vibes. I get, you're pretty, but...
She's saying... He described it perfectly. Her words are not matching the feeling. Yes, being a woman here, I'm talking about the feeling of how she's talking. But she's saying all of this stuff. I get player vibes. Okay, well, you would hear those words and go, oh, okay, so what women don't want? I mean, how many women do we see come on the pre-game with Pearl and say, you know, we want a guy who's loyal to me and blah, 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 blah. But look at how she's saying it. Yes, I'm a woman. I'm talking about how she is saying something. She is lusting over this man. I get player vibes. She loves it. She's into it. But if this guy cheated on her, he's a dick. He's a narcissistic abuser. She wanted this.
Let me put you in your place vibes, which, fuck you.
Let me put you in your place. But if he puts you in your place, you're going to Me Too him on the internet. Please make it make sense.
But also...
I'm actually glad she brought this up because it gives me the opportunity to give men some tips if they're ever trying to date in the womanized culture. First off, and this is absolutely non-negotiable, you must treat her kindly and show her the utmost respect. This is very important. If you listen to women speaking womanese, you'll hear that this is what they want. But also, you need to be very cocky and put women in their place, because if you study female behavior in this culture, you'll see that that's the kind of energy that they gravitate towards. They may be offended and say "F you," but they also are attracted to it.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
If you want to date one of these women, you need to be very deferential and also show that you're the boss. Now, admittedly, at the time of recording this, there hasn't yet been a man who has figured out how to be kind and respectful while also giving off player vibes and putting a woman in her place. But still, if you want to date a woman of this culture, then that is the task ahead of you, to figure out how to do that. There really is no other option for you because women in the womanized culture have been polled about this. When asked if they'd be willing to make some effort to resolve this contradiction and have their actions match their words, they gave these responses. 1% of women said yes, women should make an effort to change. 2% said yes in special circumstances. And a whopping 97% said, "F you, I'm a woman, I'm perfect, you figure it out."
There's something wrong with me.
She laughs because of how ironic that statement is.
Oh my God, it actually hurts my brain. Yeah, she's laughing. There's something wrong with me. Like, how common is that today among this culture of women, young women? Like, you know, maybe I'm broken. Like, we all just say it in such a joking way. It's a Freudian slip, isn't it? It's that acknowledgement. I know I'm being completely unreasonable. I know what I'm saying is crazy. I know my words aren't matching up to the behavior and emotions that I'm exerting. But I believe I'm superior, and it's men's responsibility to adhere to my narcissism, to adhere to my emotional instability. The laugh is a Freudian slip. It's acknowledging her own, but she would never use her words to I like this word, womanese language. Yeah, spot on.
The womanized culture, she knows that there's nothing wrong with her. She's a woman. She's perfect. The very idea that there could be something wrong with her, that's funny.
But I'm actually really excited for this date because I know I'm gonna have fun. Like, you know, when you just have banter with someone and you know without a doubt in your mind that you're gonna have fun, that's gonna be this date.
In womanized culture, having fun is the top priority. Of course, that's different from our culture, where for a woman of this age, we would encourage her to use dating to try and find a good man, somebody who she can commit to, have children, because her fertile years are fading. She needs to take dating seriously. But in womanized culture, they don't really value commitment and children in the same way that our culture does. That's not the point of dating. They value fun in their youth and victimhood in their old age.
Instant gratification. That's it. That's all it is.
Because in the womanized culture, what's more fulfilling than having a devoted husband and happy children is being a victim and complaining about the fact that you don't have those things.
They can't see past the ignorance of things. How many women I've heard say, when you talk about what they're doing now and they say the typical, I'm working on myself, they can't even see it. It's such a shame. We really don't encourage women to think about the future. And the reason I say it's such a shame is because when you look at the numbers of how many women will be single and childless, you know, you guys have heard it so many times, but look, I don't wish a lonely life on anyone. What kind of existence is that? We're social beings. It's good to have people around you. And the truth is, majority of women, or let's say half for argument's sake, in my generation, will be very lonely in 20, 30 years. And that's sad. And the only way to kind of maybe get women to start realizing is to get them to realize their humanity, to get them to realize their mortality. You will get older, you will be less fertile, you are going to be less attractive, your prospects are going to decline. And that's the reality. But the problem is that women dreams on a daily basis and women don't live in reality. And that's not to excuse that it is a woman as an adult's responsibility to find out reality for herself. I'm not really making, perhaps I am making a few excuses here, but I am just acknowledging that the propaganda and everything that's around and the age that we live in, a woman who does seek settling down young, say wants to get married and have children, they are kind of villainized and ostracized for that. There are things that we could be doing, prospective future. No one seems to want to look past their youthful years, the years of having fun. And only time will tell where that will really get us.
So through that lens, it makes complete sense why she's so excited for this date with this cocky player guy, because even though it's not moving her any closer to commitment and children, that's not the point of dating. She's going to have some fun. That is the top priority, even at her age.
You know how, like, you find all those TikToks and people talk about love differently, and how some people are like, you need to find that love that just, like, brings you ultimate peace and it's, like, almost boring. Is that for real? Is that for real? Because I'm doing this all wrong. And that just doesn't necessarily really appeal to me.
Do you think rehab appeals to a crackhead? No. Heroin, crack. But would you advise that crackhead to go and take more crack? You would. I mean, we know the kind of person we're dealing with, and I have a feeling that's the kind of person this lady is from what she's saying. Even the image that we're stuck on right now, I mean, I am seeing pretty soulless eyes right there. That's a real shame. We live in an age where we would encourage crackheads to do more crack instead of going to rehab.
There's your answer. It doesn't appeal to her, and in womanized culture, that's enough. Now, in our culture, we might encourage her to listen to the wisdom of others who say that love doesn't need to be fun or filled with drama. It can be peaceful and boring and still be very fulfilling. In our culture, we might even encourage her to do some self-reflection, to ask the question, what is wrong with me, and seriously reflect upon the answer, not just laugh about it. With your fertility years quickly fading, you might want to reconsider your value system that says that nice men who treat you well are boring, and it's more important to have fun with player guys who treat you badly. But that's our perspective, and it's culturally insensitive to assume that our way of doing things is superior to the womanized culture. In their culture, the suggestion that a woman should adjust her expectations to better reflect reality is incredibly sexist. She is perfect, all women are perfect, and if something doesn't appeal to her, then that's the end of the discussion.
My final thoughts after this video is men going their own way, guys, are really sort of called the misogynists and all of this, but I'm really seeing the archetype that they now see in modern women. It's this kind of Medusa-like character, snakes for hairs, evil eyes, narcissistic, psychopathic, doesn't make any sense. And there's just this darkness about it, especially when I made the analogy of, she says, well, the boring, peaceful, easy love doesn't appeal to her. And I made the example of, well, the boring, peaceful answer of, say, getting sober from a drug addiction. Would you encourage a drug addict to go and seek the boring solution, or would you encourage them to continue self-indulging in self-destructive? And the truth is, the women will argue it's different. It's not. The principle's still the same. They will encourage each other to be self-destructive, and that's really quite dark. That's where we're at now. If I was her friend, it's a shame that she's eaten it instead of talking to people around her. And what's even sadder is that she probably doesn't have people around her who would give her the advice that I would give her anyway. Because she'd just say, well, you're not a good friend. You don't want me to have fun. But if I was her friend, I would say, look, go on another date with the boring guy and take some responsibility to see what you can bring to the date. And I would talk to her about, she's so emotionally drawn and lusting for the other fun guy. Let's be real, she probably wouldn't listen to me. And why should you? What do I know? Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel to not miss any other reaction videos. And go check out my series Debunking the Lunacy, where we basically just look at the mess that I can currently see in society, and we try and give the flip side of the coin. We try and give you the side of the story that isn't often portrayed in the mainstream media. So if that sounds like something that you would enjoy, go check it out, and I will see you over there.